Stream, but silently. Let's see what makes a DuPont roll.
Excellent journalism is vital to a decent and robust and strong democracy. The truth still does matter. Good reporting matters.
When there's disaster, when there's trouble, when other people are running away, journalists are expected to run forward and find the truth for us.
Surveillance cameras capture him arriving at the
If you can tell enough people the truth and tell it in a compelling enough way, it can actually help make change in the world.
He's not responsive right now, bro.
There is no shortage of troubled spots in today's complicated world. Places that cry out for comprehensive coverage.
It's the essence of journalism to convey what it feels like there.
We are the point of the spear for an audience that depends on us to pierce the cover-up, to deflate the myth, to discomfort the error.
This will be hard to watch, but it should be seen.
Exposing injustice, taking a stand, making life better somehow for those less fortunate.
At any given time, somewhere in America, a local television station is peeling away the layers of the smaller society.
Did you falsify campaign documents, sir?
Investigative reporters play a crucial role in our communities by exposing wrongdoings and holding public officials accountable.
These awards keep reminding me that in the fog and the ice, there is land.
Remember, batons are meant to be passed on in the race, so pass on your experience, you winners, and your standards and your ideals to the young men and women in your newsroom.
This endeavor called journalism is truly a noble endeavor, and one that's done to the very highest standards can really make a difference, can really and truly change and shape our world for the better.
Good evening, and welcome to the 2026 Alfred I. duPont-Columbia University
from the
Awards.
Lee C. Bollinger Forum on New York City's Columbia University campus, welcome to the 84th Annual duPont-Columbia Awards.
"50 years in television, and I miss my cue." But as we were saying, good evening and welcome to the 2026 Alfred I. duPont-Columbia University Awards. I'm Scott Pelley, and I'll be joined tonight by my co-host, Michelle Martin from NPR. Together we will celebrate 15 winners and one special citation, the best in audio and video journalism from June 2024 to June 2025. Journalism that is deeply reported and well told. Jelani Cobb, the Dean of Columbia Journalism School, and DuPont Director Lisa Cohen are also here to help hand out these well-earned silver batons. I'm so grateful and humble to be in the company tonight of our DuPont-Columbia Award winners. And by their example, it is gratifying to see journalists continue to thrive despite the most hostile times our profession has faced in America. And haven't we just seen the critical importance of the First Amendment? Citizen reporters recording the mayhem in Minneapolis. In this moment when federal police hide behind masks and top officials rush to lie to the American people, the simple but courageous act of recording the truth has prevailed. There has been a worse time in American journalism, but you have to go back a ways. It was the Sedition Act of 1787, which made it illegal to criticize the federal government. Reporters and editors went to jail when asked about this attack on his First Amendment. James Madison, the author of the Bill of Rights, wrote this: "The right to press freedom is the right that guarantees all the others." And so we find in the 21st century, the First Amendment is again, as always, the keystone supporting our republic. And now to the awards. But before we start, a quick advisory from the DuPont team. You're going to hear a lot of four-letter words in the clips from our winners tonight, including this first one. In courageous reporting from the front line of the war in Ukraine, 2,000 meters to Andriivka shows the sheer brutality and eerie anonymity of the combat being fought there with high-tech drones and low-tech trench warfare. Frontline Features and the Associated Press combined helmet cam video of Ukrainian fighters and footage captured with extraordinary bravery by director Mstislav Chernov. The resulting feature documentary is an inside view of an epic 3-month battle fought over a narrow 2,000-meter strip of forest to reach the hamlet of Andriivka. It was deserted and in ruins. In this excerpt, we watch Duda inside a command center, watching over his comrade Fredya outside in a foxhole.
Пидор! Федя, пидор в норе, пидор в блиндаже, парень. Стреляет. Стреляет, Дуда. Стреляет, да. Миномет пошел. Парни, будьте в укрытии, причем минометом. Есть! Есть! Труба. Осталось. Снял? Далеко. А? Тут далеко. Вот здесь. Блядь, с такой неудобно. Вот, Паша.
Плюс.
Пидор, сука, оставайся, дурак, жити буде! Вилазь, сука! Поки ти не в'їбав не одного, я дам тобі право на життя, долбойоб! Поки в'їбала! Сука, хуй, где, блядь, сука, скит, это просто пизда, нахуй, ебать его в рот, блядь. Ух, заебись, ебали. Ебали охуенно, по хуесосам прям. Заебись.
Please welcome the director of 2,000 meters to Andriivka, Mstislav Chernov.
I'm going to use this opportunity to thank Frontline, PBS, and Associated Press for making this film possible. All of them are right now in a very difficult situation, so as a person, as a Ukrainian who knows how important public television became the central channel, the central information delivery to all people in Ukraine during the war. And it feels like you are at war now in many ways. So please keep supporting your public television. Sheva, yes. Rainy Michelle, thank you. Sheva has died, the man you've seen on the screen, Sheva has died 2 years ago, exactly 2 years ago. So I'm very moved to be able to talk about every single person who makes sure that my home is still a free place, is not occupied by Russia. And our film team is in freezing conditions now, goes out every day and films the bombings, films the consequences of these attacks on Ukraine. I thank you again for this opportunity to be here and to be able to talk about that.
Next, staying with international news, our second silver baton goes to PBS NewsHour for its coverage of the lightning-fast fall of Bashar al-Assad in Syria. As the country reckoned with years of oppression and began charting a tenuous path toward the future, special correspondents Layla Molana Allen and Shimona Foten spoke with Syrians who searched prisons for their loved ones, followed refugees returning to their homes after years in exile, and met with leaders of the new government. The jury praised their reporting for its context and empathy and said it was what reporting should look like. The film takes us inside hidden factories making the drug Captagon that helped finance Assad's regime, and let us see one family's struggle to claim the remains of a missing loved one.
This is the street where the massacre took place. There, we found a family praying over a patch of dirt. Rames and his sister Mahasen only just found out that their brother was among those murdered here. They watched a video over and over to find the precise location of the grave.
They brought them here. They kicked them, and then they shot them.
Until yesterday, they had only seen a blurred version of the execution video. After years of uncertainty, finally, the truth. Mahasen is sure that the man in the red shirt is her beloved brother, Ahmed.
We saw him on YouTube. We knew immediately that it was him.
This is a pallet with the little shapes into which they would pour the mixed chemicals and harden the pills.
Against the walls, bunks where workers slept here in shifts to produce high quantities of the drug at speed. Factories like this have been found across Syria. This is one of the largest. The rebels who discovered this production facility think there are at least 2.5 million pills just in this room.
There are millions of dollars worth of drugs stacked on these pallets, and this is how they were smuggling it. This is a household voltage regulator. When you open it up, there's a drum inside. But break through, and inside that drum, Captagon pills.
Please welcome for the PBS NewsHour senior producer Morgan Till.
Could brain somebody with this thing. Thank you, Dean Cobb. Thank you, Director Lisa Cohen, for this enormous honor We're gratified to be here again, which is very nice for our small team. Thank you, Michelle, for your years and years of service to public broadcasting. I think I speak for all of us across the public media universe when I say we are here. We will remain unbowed. You can try, but you're not going to kill us all. And thank you, Scott, fighting the fight you're fighting, and keep up the good fight. We in this room are all here with you. I'd like to recognize the four extraordinary journalists up here with me, starting with my boss, Sarah Just. She trusts us, she backs us up, she trusts me, crucially, and she never asks why. She just says when and how, which is what you want to hear from your executive producer. My brother and fellow raconteur, Eric O'Connor, he is as talented as he is good and kind, and it shows in everything he shoots. To these wonderful women next to me, Layla Milana Allen, Simona Fultine, fluent Arabic speakers with deep and meaningful experience in the region. It shows in everything they do. And as the clip mentioned and the citation mentioned, with just astonishing amounts of empathy, which is, you can't do this job if you don't have it, especially in the situations where they find themselves. In early December 2024, I was snowed in the high country of West Virginia, and they were both texting me saying this is going to happen. And it was really the three of us and some local producers who figured out how to do this. Small team, big heart, and lots of want to. There are so many people who worked on this series that aren't here, but I do want to pick out one of them, our Syrian producer and cameraman, Abdulrazak Al-Shami. That is with so many people in Syria, a pseudonym. Over the last 12 years, he's probably lived in twice as many places. Came to me over WhatsApp one day, and I knew a good thing when I saw it. And he's brought so much stuff to us over the years and worked with Layla in situ, and has a beautiful eye and a beautiful talent. And finally, a dedication to all the journalists we lost in this goddamn war. Syrians mostly, but many, many foreign journalists, not just Marie, not just Anthony. Diane Foley has become a good friend over the years. So for Diane, salud, and we dedicate this to Jim and to all of you. Thank you very much.
Now, from conflict on the international, from conflict on the international stage, we move to political violence at home with a feature documentary aptly titled Homegrown. It is a raw, immersive portrait of an American movement willing to use violence to get the America that it wants. In the summer of 2020, the filmmakers followed three members of the far-right Proud Boys as they crisscrossed the country campaigning for Donald Trump and his America First platform. Director Michael Primo was with them every step of the way. In cinema verite and with journalistic rigor, viewers get unprecedented access to people who, over the course of the film, decided the election was stolen and took their fight to the streets and to the Capitol. In a hotel room in Washington, D.C., on the eve of the January 6th insurrection, they prepare for battle.
Holy fuck. And a taser. I think it might be legal. It's floatable. See, all this shit is my fucking survival shit. This is all medical. Trauma, fucking bullet wounds, fucking tampons because they're great for knife wounds. People are like, oh shit, we're gonna have a civil war. And I'm like, oh shit, I've been fucking planning for this for 10 fucking years. Are you fucking kidding me? These things are badass, dude. And you're not breaking through them. I don't care if they're from fucking China or not. My wife's from China. She's the best fucking lady I ever fucking met. So I don't care if they're from China or not. You're not breaking through those. And if I would love to see some fucking Antifa, like just hogtied.
Yeah. Make some noise for the one and only Roger
I have 2 words to say. Thank you, Jesus. Because I am living proof that God can do anything. So I thank God for giving the greatest president since Abraham Lincoln the wisdom, the courage, the strength to correct this injustice.
I can't wait. I can't wait for tomorrow.
I take one look at you, you should be behind the
Let's
counter
storm the
at
fucking
JCPenney.
Capitol.
Please welcome the Director of Homegrown, Michael Primo.
Everybody, come on.
I'm speechless, but I shouldn't be. It's absolutely humbling to be here with you tonight. In this room are some of the people I admire most in this profession, so it's completely humbling to be among you. When we first pitched this project in 2018, we were met with blank stares and dismissals and people like, oh, it's not that bad, it's just gonna blow over. And you know, I think in our estimation, what we are looking at in this moment is such a perfect distillation of what so many people in this country would prefer America not to be, but it's a reality that so many of us have only seen this face of America our entire lives and haven't had the privilege to look away. And so we did this film as an independent team, and I'm forever grateful for the people who came together to help us make this film possible, as well as put out this film independently, as we found broadcasts abroad, but have had mixed responses in the United States. Making this work following the extremism and political violence in the States, we've met a great group of journalists from around this country who cover violence, and we call ourselves the Cassandra Club. Cassandra being the Greek myth around the woman who could see the future, but no one would listen to her and poured out her hair. And of course, we don't have any special gifts. It's just a combination of deep reporting, a close reading of history that makes us understand that hopefully we are in a space where we are moving beyond the time when we're debating on whether or not we can call a lie a lie. And that is as important as ever when they're trying to tell us that what we see is not what we see. And I think we have this profound opportunity to dig deep in ourselves and maintain that pillar of democracy in which democracy it must be. And I think something that we don't talk about enough is aesthetics. And I have this open question for peers in the field is, you know, we know what the aesthetics of brutality are. We know what the aesthetics of authoritarianism is. What are the aesthetics of democracy? What are the aesthetics of a multiracial democracy? And that's an open question we have. So thank you very much for this honor. It's an absolute privilege. Thank you.
And now, I am happy to introduce my partner for the evening, Michelle Martin, As you know, she is the host of NPR's Morning Edition and also NPR's Morning News podcast, Up First, which was nominated recently for a Golden Globe. Martin joined NPR from ABC News, where she was a correspondent on Nightline since 1992. She reported on, among other important stories, the U.S. embassy bombings in Africa, racial profiling, and the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. Please welcome Michelle Martin.
Thank you, Scott. And as Scott has already said, it's quite an honor to be here to celebrate great work. It's also great to hang out with old friends, perhaps make some new ones, and to hopefully inspire some promising students to stick with us in this crazy business. And make no mistake, it is a business, even if you're on the nonprofit side, as I am, and that aspect of it can be very discouraging. We all know it. We all see it. Nobody here needs to be reminded of the many ways in which the business models of our field shape and reshape the work, sometimes expanding what has been possible to bring more stories to more people faster and from farther away, but also, often enough, seeming to strangle us, to diminish us, possibly even to replace us. But with all of that, can we also remember journalism is fun? It's fun. It's fun. Even with all of these very serious, sometimes heartbreaking stories that we are honoring tonight, remember this, and I'm talking to myself, I'm letting you listen. Telling stories is fun. Speaking truth to power is fun. Look, some people can go their whole working lives and never get up in the morning saying to themselves, I made a difference. I got to do something I love. I got to do something that matters. And that is fun. So tonight, let me thank you for your hard work. Thank you for doing hard things. But can you also, as a favor to me, remember, have some fun. You deserve it. And with that being said, let's continue with the awards. Appropriately, our first DuPont Award for audio reporting, The Voice, always The Voice comes first, come on. It goes to WNYC and Gothamist for their dogged investigation of a mysterious corrections officer at New York's notorious Rikers Island prison. He was known to female inmates only as Officer Champagne. The reporters spent a year compiling data from more than 1,000 lawsuits to reveal evidence of a systemic problem, and in particular, the pattern of abuse by one Rikers predator. And then they painstakingly tracked more than 20 women who said he sexually assaulted them, and they won the trust of several who agreed to talk publicly. These accounts were meticulously fact-checked. Finally, reporter Jesse Edwards discovered the man's identity and in a chilling interview put Officer Champagne on the record. The DuPont jury said this podcast episode was, quote, a model for how to tell the story of a system corrupted, unquote. And here's where I want to tell you that this excerpt contains a graphic description of sexual abuse, so please be forewarned.
One night, about half an hour after lights out, she said she saw flashlight.
I saw the flashlight, you know, the brightness.
Heard the heavy door of her cell open.
And he walks in.
It was Champagne.
He didn't say nothing to me. He just said, turn around. And he had sex with me. He was very aggressive. Turned me around forcibly. His whole character, everything changed. And the second time was he told me to give him a blowjob. That moment for me was like the moment that I hate. I just completely shut down because who's gonna believe me? I'm a drug addict in jail, Rikers Island. Who is going to believe me? And when I got out, I never told anybody. I didn't even tell my husband. I never told anybody. Like, I was ashamed. I was embarrassed. How many women have complained about her?
Lizette, there's been 23 lawsuits filed.
Get out! Of him?
Mm-hmm. Of CO Champagne.
No! No! No way!
Accepting the silver baton is reporter Jesse Edwards.
Thank you so much. So I'm just going to be speaking on behalf of this whole incredible team who is over here. I'm just one member. Thank you, judges, for this honor. We worked so hard on this, and it feels amazing to be recognized in this way. As you just heard, our investigation focused on the claims of more than 700 women who say they were sexually assaulted by staff at the women's jail on Rikers Island. Yes, we uncovered the identity of one officer who was accused of assaulting 24 women. But beyond that, we revealed policy lapses that led to decades of systemic sexual abuse on Rikers. Time and time again, we spoke with women who said this was the first time that they had told their story and felt heard. Now, thanks to our reporting, the city is listening. The council has hosted some of these survivors at City Hall, and new legislation is being drafted. I want to hold up each and every one of my colleagues here who threw themselves into this work so selflessly and who are forever changed by it. I also want to thank the women who trusted us with their stories, and I told one of them that we had got this award, and she had this message for all of the other journalists in the room. She said, this is Karen Klein's, by the way, "This honor affirms that voices once unheard truly matter. To the other journalists in the room tonight, your willingness to listen deeply and tell stories with integrity has the power to heal, inform, and change lives." So thank you, Karen and Tasha and Karina and Lelise and Jenny and Rose and Jennifer and Veronica and every unnamed woman in our project. Thank you so much for this.
Continuing with our awards, the DuPont-Columbia Awards have a tradition of honoring investigative reporting, especially the critical work done by local television stations like WXYZ in Detroit. Shielded, a 2-year-long series of 19 reports, revealed how disgraced Michigan police officers were able to find new jobs in neighboring departments, leaving scandal, criminal charges, and lawsuits in their wake. Relentless digging, led by investigative reporter Ross Jones, produced real results: new legislation, suspensions, and even a criminal conviction. WXYZ showed how departments across Michigan violated rules meant to prevent rogue officers from getting new badges. They withheld information about the officers' histories of racist slurs, sex acts with suspects, assaults on the homeless, and destruction of evidence. And they hired officers without even performing even cursory background checks. Watch as a chief of police tries to avoid responsibility for hiring a rogue officer.
Perhaps the most serious allegation against him came back in January as Aldrich was preparing to leave Carlton. According to the police chief, while he was reviewing body camera footage stemming from citizen complaints against Aldrich, he noticed one of the videos had been deleted. Aldrich, he said, was the top suspect. But instead of pursuing the issue, the chief dropped it there, writing in this memo, "I have decided not to pursue criminal charges for the destruction of evidence due to the fact that Aldrich has resigned." By phone, Aldrich told me, "I don't have any recollection of deleting that body cam."
Chief, can we talk to you 1 second? It's Ross Jones with Channel 7.
The chief declined our request for an interview, so we found him earlier this month as he picked up his lunch.
You wrote that hiring him would be a huge gamble. You hired him anyway. Well, why did you gamble with public safety?
I have a press release for you at the station.
Why would you take a gamble on a guy who had been
I
found
have
to
a
have
press
had
release.
sex
I'm not gonna
with a
do an
woman
interview.
he gave a DUI to?
Okay.
Why would you hire somebody like that?
I have got a press release for you at the station.
We wanted to ask the chief why, on the very same day he wrote that Aldrich may have destroyed evidence, he reported to state regulators that he resigned in good standing.
You were going to pursue charges of destruction of property. Instead, you let another agency hire him. Why did you do that?
I have the press release for you. I don't have anything to add or subtract from
Do you have any answers?
I have a press release for you.
By reporting that Aldrich left on good terms, it prevented the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards from flagging his license, making it easier for another agency to hire him. It wasn't long before one did.
Welcome. Yes. This way. Please welcome WXYZ investigative reporter Ross Jones.
Good evening. For the better part of a year, we reported on a problem that the state long ago had declared solved, one we found very much in need of fixing. Police officers whose sins were too egregious to keep their badges, who found new ones somewhere else close by. As you saw, these were officers whose own departments found them to have physically abused citizens, preyed sexually on crime victims or suspects, or been untruthful, who were nonetheless able to continue their misconduct tours, usually in poorer and disadvantaged communities. Our reporting helped ensure that this would be their final stop. We humbly accept this award at what we know is an uncomfortable moment in journalism. More than we would like to admit, we have seen some of our nation's great newsrooms in retreat. Revered institutions that bent the knee or pulled a punch or cut a check following a collision with power. The stations that my colleagues and I work for is not the largest. We are not owned by a company that prints money, and we are all trying to do more with less. But I would challenge you to find many newsrooms braver than ours. Our series, Shielded, was the product of a year's worth of reporting, but we have been reporting on misconduct throughout Michigan police departments for more than 5 years. It has not been without costs. Those early years of reporting earned us the scorn of police officials not used to the glare of our camera lens, the phone calls to the corner office from a sheriff reminding you just how important it is to have a working relationship with a major police department. There were countless threats of litigation from officers who did not want these stories to see the light of day, and in one instance, there was a lawsuit filed by an officer at the center of our reporting. It would be dismissed. Now, in most newsrooms, the call would have come long ago. Maybe give the cops a break for a few months. There is plenty else for you to look into. It would have been devastating. But at a moment when journalism is being squeezed at all sides, maybe not surprising. That call did not come. Instead, we were supported every step of the way, from the top of our company to the top of our newsroom, encouraged to be fair, to be right, and to keep reporting. And that support allowed us to tell these stories. And for all the tangible results we have seen, from officers criminally charged to police powers revoked to legislation introduced, I know that our most meaningful contribution comes from what we could not see, what has always been journalism's biggest superpower. It is a pause, a second thought, the quiet voice in the back of the head of a police officer or a chief reminding them that accountability does not end when a body camera is turned off. Journalism is not the only guardrail of democracy, but it is one of them, and there are fewer and fewer every day. I'm proud of the work we did here, proud of Channel 7 and of Scripps for supporting it, and proudest of all that it will continue tomorrow. Thank you.
Social media. Its toll on children is the topic of our next winner. After years of reporting, Bloomberg's Olivia Carville noticed a pattern. Companies like TikTok, Snapchat, and Facebook were shielding themselves with one section of the Communications Decency Act to avoid any responsibility. Can't Look Away, a documentary from Bloomberg News and DCTV, makes the case that the internet provides a hugely successful marketing and delivery tool for drug dealers, from the phone inside your child's pocket, and even gives lessons in how to take your own life. Directed by Matthew O'Neill and Perry Peltz, the film followed lawyers from the Social Media Victims Law Center as they fought to bring their lawsuits to trial instead of being dismissed out of hand by a creative pivot to product liability law. Some late-breaking news. The strategy worked. Jury selection for the first trial started yesterday. Listen to this young man. Listen to this young man targeted by drug dealers on Snapchat when he was, wait for it, 12. The drugs almost killed him, and he is left with permanent brain damage.
If you could raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear that the testimony about to give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. And down.
Michael, when did you first open a Snapchat account?
Around 10 or 11.
How long after you started on Snapchat did you start to receive this drug-related content?
When I was like 12 and a half, I got this guy who, on my quick ad, his name was like Mary Jane and the tree emoji. When I quick added him, he originally responded 2 days later saying, what you want? And then I was like, what do you mean? And then he sent me a photo of his drug menu. After that, quick ad, 5 or 6 out of 10 were dealers.
How often were you receiving drug menus in your stories feeds on Snapchat?
Every hour, there were new drug menus.
What happened leading up to Christmas Day of 2020?
I was looking for Adderall, and then I asked this one guy, and he said, no, but I have Percocet.
Did he bring the drugs to you?
Yeah.
When did you take one of the supposed Percocet pills?
Pretty late on Christmas Eve, like 10, 11 p.m. I kinda blacked out after 30 minutes. My mom woke up in the middle of the night, and I was foaming out the mouth. I was cold to the touch.
Please welcome the DuPont-Columbia Award winner, Matthew O'Neill.
Thank you. It's humbling to be here with all of you and the work that's being highlighted tonight. Perry and I are just so honored that the DuPont jury recognized this piece. And we're accepting this award on behalf of an entire team because these films don't happen without an incredible backbone. And the journalists, editors, producers, cinematographers, lawyers, and fact checkers who worked with us at Bloomberg News had our back at every moment. And most of all, I want to thank my incredible directing partner, Perry Peltz, who is amazing in everything we do. As working filmmakers and journalists, you know the resources it takes to follow a story that doesn't have an end. Or when you pitch a story like, we're going to follow this for a while. And that's what happened with these lawyers in this trial. And Bloomberg backed us at every step. At this critical moment, Bloomberg's commitment to documentary journalism is not just admirable, it's essential. This started with Olivia Carvel's reporting, and then it was nurtured, supported, and often challenged by our incredible executive producer, Kristen Powers, and the entire executive team at Bloomberg, John Micklethwaite, Reto Gregory, and David Merritt. The stories in the film aren't all like Michael Brewer. Michael Brewer lived. Most of the stories are stories about children who tragically died because of their interactions with social media. These are precisely the stories that the big tech companies do not want anyone to see. They don't want you to know their names. And it's Michael Brewer, it's David Mason, it's England Roberts, it's Alexander Neville, it's Jordan DeMay. And those are the names that are on the lips of the lawyers of the Social Media Victims Law Center every day. Those names and many more names. And the fight that they're fighting, represented here tonight by Laura Marquez Garrett from the Social Media Victims Law Center. Thank you, Laura. Michelle mentioned jury selection started yesterday. In the last week, both TikTok and Snapchat settled cases that the lawyers have brought up against social media companies. And on February 9th, Mark Zuckerberg will be called to testify in public in Los Angeles. That matters. And it suggests the persistence of social justice lawyers and the persistence of journalists bend history towards justice and accountability as possible. Thank you. Thank you for what you do.
HBO's Surviving Ohio State is another example of power being held to account when vulnerable young people are exploited. Dr. Richard Strauss was a sports medicine physician employed by OSU from 1978 to 1998. Now, decades later, Strauss's student-athlete victims have bravely come forward to talk about their trauma. Director Eva Orner spent 3.5 years speaking to almost 100 survivors and then artfully unraveled their complicated narrative. She examined the culture that allowed the abuse to continue for so long at OSU and the survivors' present-day fight to hold the school accountable. The jury called the film an extremely powerful indictment of locker room norms, tough guy culture, and the preeminent place of athletics and win-at-all-cost sports. Inspired by the testimony of young female gymnasts against another serial sex offender, Larry Nassar in Michigan, the male wrestlers finally broke their own silence.
He sexually abused football players, wrestlers, tennis players, hockey players, fencers. He sexually abused students who were not athletes, whom he saw in student health services. He did this repeatedly. He did it right under the nose of OSU, and the whole thing might have just died away forever. But fast forward 20 years, it all changed.
Today marks a step in a continuing quest for accountability and justice for the horrific, predatory conduct of Larry Nassar.
The Larry Nassar, Michigan State ordeal. I was following that very closely because, my daughter was a gymnast.
Your Honor,
Thank you for the opportunity to make this statement here today.
I called Mike DeSabato up and I'm discussing the situation.
And he's reading testimony to me.
The hardest thing I've ever had to do is process that I'm a victim of Larry Nassar. I had no idea what he was doing and that it was sexual assault or any type of abuse. I was taught to trust doctors because they are there to help you.
And I said, wow, that's us.
Accepting the silver baton, Director Eva Warner.
Thank you so much. This is a huge honor. And thank you for reminding me that it was 3.5 years. I think I'd almost forgotten how long it took. Making this film was the honor of a lifetime. It meant bearing witness and giving voice to men, survivors of horrific abuse, who for more than 8 years have stood up to Ohio State University in a relentless pursuit of truth and accountability. These men refused silence. They challenged power, institutional denial, and the cost of speaking out, knowing full well the personal toll it would take on them and their families. Their courage is the reason this story exists, along with the excellent journalism of John Wertheim and the unwavering advocacy of civil rights attorney Ilan Mazal, who is here with us tonight. This project is a reminder of why journalism matters, now more than ever. Long-form investigative storytelling, exposés, and the bravery of whistleblowers has never been more essential than it is right now. Thank you to the duPont-Columbia Awards and for this extraordinary honour, and to HBO Documentary Films for being the most fearless partners committed to integrity, and to the people brave enough to tell these stories, and to our entire team. This award belongs to the survivors. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now, please join me in welcoming Lisa R. Cohen. She is the director of the duPont-Columbia Awards. Hello.
Thank you, Michelle. Sometimes actions meant to protect the vulnerable can have unintended consequences. Imagine you're a parent who takes your child to the ER, but instead of getting medical care for a bruise or a health problem, doctors accuse you of child abuse. They take your child away, you lose custody, maybe you even go to jail. That is happening, as Rebecca Lindstrom and Atlanta 11 Alive discovered in this 2-year-long deep dive. The children in Help That Harms were seen by what's called a child abuse pediatrician, or CAP. It's a subspecialty recently created to address the legitimate scourge of child abuse, but a lack of due process and predisposition to see any injury as abuse can have tragic consequences. By the time an error is corrected, the family has been torn apart for months or years. In some cases, the child has even been denied necessary medical care, and the parents are deeply in debt. This reporting led the Georgia Department of Human Services to announce significant changes to its child abuse protocols. Now, doctors must confirm they have reviewed the child's complete medical history and conducted all relevant tests before making abuse accusations. Here, a group of families share their trauma and their stories.
Everyone was whispering about us. Like, I saw one of the nurses type her friend and say, there they are, like, there's the parents.
I trust them. I just want to tell them every single detail. They use that to arrest me and say that I'm abused my baby.
And within hours of that accusation, for many of these families,
we were there for no more than 2 hours, and they told us, they separated us, questioned us, and then told us that they were taking our son from us, and we were immediately escorted out of the hospital by police. And that was the last time we saw him.
You haven't seen him since? And how long has that been?
3 years.
How many of you knew you were talking with a child abuse pediatrician when they were in the room asking you questions?
When we spoke to the child abuse pediatrician, we didn't know initially she was a CAP. We found this out later once we got our medical records.
I actually didn't find out until we went to court.
Same.
Well, he didn't meet us in person. He called us on the phone.
well, parents understand and want doctors and defects to protect children. They question how much they truly want to find out what's going on.
I wanted to get more follow-up x-rays. We kept asking and pushing for more follow-up x-rays, and they wouldn't do it anymore.
After I got custody of our grandson, I went to all kinds of doctors. And one of the first places was Emory Genetics. He refused, and he said, "It's all right here in the computer. It's 100% abuse. I'm not doing any genetic testing." And I told him I was willing to pay for whatever. And he just flat refused.
Please welcome investigative reporter Rebecca Lindstrom to the podium. This is her second silver baton.
You have no idea what clip they're going to pick, and I cannot tell you how pleased I am that that is the one they chose, because you see the name of all the amazing people who helped make this project happen. You see this great team right here, but what you don't see are the families that are impacted by this issue. I mean, for them, the stakes were as high as they could be. It was the custody of their children. It was potentially time in prison. And when we started interviewing them, we had no idea if they had abused their children, but we knew if they were innocent, there was nothing in this system that made it possible for them to prove it. There was a moment where I realized that the state of Georgia was just systemically tearing families apart because it could, because it was easier to assume their guilt than to do the hard work and figure out the truth. It never hit home to me more than after our series had aired, and someone from the hospital, higher up, reached out to me, wanted to do a FaceTime call. And in this call, she spent like an hour berating me, and she asked me, "Didn't you feel like you were in the presence of pure evil when you were with those families?" Families she had never met. And for the record, no, I did not. But it was in that moment that I really realized what these families had experienced, that because of the opinion of one person, one doctor, they were treated as pure evil by the courts, by police, by child welfare. And I am so grateful that these people treated them as humans, as parents. And it was in that humanity that we were able to expose this problem and that we were able to create a new state law. So I know I think I can speak for everyone, are just grateful to be in this room with journalists who also believe in fighting, have that need, that insatiable need and want to do the hard work to get to the truth. So thank all of you.
This year, the DuPont jury voted to award a special citation for a live broadcast by ABC News. At a critical point in the 2024 presidential campaign, with a new candidate on the Democratic ticket, ABC News took extraordinary measures to secure and carry out a second presidential debate. It then offered the live broadcast to all platforms, including its TV competitors. Over 67 million people watched. Here's what the jurors said in their special citation for the ABC News presidential debate, Race to the White House.
This is an ABC News special, the most consequential moment of this campaign, the ABC News presidential debate.
The DuPont jury awards a special citation to ABC News for the ABC News presidential debate. In a unique electoral cycle, this singular production provided a vital opportunity, the only opportunity for Americans to see these two candidates debate. The program was meticulously prepared, skillfully and fairly moderated, and most importantly, made widely and freely available to all networks and platforms, ensuring that it reached the greatest possible number of voters. Special citation for the 2024 presidential debate for ABC News. Please welcome to the podium Lindsay Davis.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for this extraordinary honor. I'm so pleased that a number of my colleagues were able to join us tonight. But in truth, this really belongs to probably 100 plus people who should be sharing and crowding this stage tonight in deserving this recognition. And you all have my most sincere gratitude. From the beginning, everyone involved understood the assignment, that this was not simply a broadcast. It was a service to the American people. Every decision that night was made with the audience in mind. The goal was simple, but not easy. We believed that voters deserved clarity over chaos, substance over spectacle, and journalism that would ultimately allow them to decide the best direction for the country. The journalists in this room know all too well that with live TV, there is no safety net. There are no edits, there are no rewrites, there is no distance from consequence. There is only one moment under the eyes of the nation, and that responsibility certainly carries a great weight. We also recognized that democracy does not demand of us to be perfect, but it does require us to be honest, accurate, and have restraint. A presidential debate certainly demands all three. What unfolds in real time, after all, does become part of the permanent record, and that weight was felt by every member of the ABC News team. The producers that you see here, the researchers, the technicians, all of our ABC News colleagues understood that this was not a show, it was a public trust. I am deeply grateful to share this recognition with David Muir, whose steady leadership and commitment to the facts helped to anchor that night. Together, Our goal was not that we would be the story, but to create the conditions that would help the truth to emerge. To Deborah, who helped to ensure that we would get the debate, to Almeen, who helped to ensure that we would get it right, my eternal gratitude to both of you. This citation, as has been described by virtually every person who has graced this podium tonight, certainly comes at a time when trust is fragile and confidence in our institution is waning and being tested. But it affirms something that is certainly essential, that journalism rooted in service, accuracy, and accountability still matters. To our colleagues across this profession, this honor belongs to all of us who have a firm belief that the work certainly outweighs the importance of any one night. And in the critical moments, how we show up is vital. And so thank you again for this recognition and for all of the work that you all do in this room to help defend the public good.
Now, please welcome to the podium the Dean of Columbia Journalism School, Jelani Cobb.
Good evening, welcome, and congratulations, everyone. A special welcome to all of our alumni, and every time I try to name all of you, I inevitably leave someone out. So instead, I'm just going to welcome all of you together. I'd like to think that your time with us, learning the craft of journalism, helped bring you back to be honored for your reporting this evening. And welcome to our current students, and I hope that we may see some of you at this ceremony in the future. And the rest of you, meaning not our current students, should take the chance to meet some of this year's class. Now I'd like to hand out some well-deserved thank yous. The first goes to our tireless DuPont Awards staff, Abby Wright, Lisa Cohen, and Luz Montez, who make the awards happen every year. And to our stage manager, Terry Benson, who's around here somewhere. He has been running, and I'm literally running, this award show for nearly 40 years. It's amazing. They say he's literally running up and down these aisles this evening. Second, thank you to the DuPont jury who chose tonight's honorees. Even before the jury met, over 130 judges, many of them former DuPont winners, evaluated almost 500 entries. Then the jury convened in October for 3 days to select the 15 winners. Would the members of the jury please stand? Thank you for your time and dedication to upholding journalistic standards for the profession and for the public. I'd also like to acknowledge and welcome the president and some of the trustees from the Jesse Ball DuPont Fund who are here tonight. Please stand. By maintaining the legacy, By maintaining the legacy of Jesse Ball DuPont to honor her husband, Alfred I. DuPont, you help us elevate the standards of excellence for journalists everywhere. Thank you. With the support of the fund, In addition to administering these awards, we're also able to offer partial scholarships to 2 Columbia Journalism School students. I'd like to introduce this year's DuPont Fellows, to Lee and Zach Jaworski.
Good evening. We're so excited to be in the Bollinger Forum today, the first time here for this ceremony. There will be more silver batons handed out in just a few minutes, but right now we want to tell you more about how the DuPont Awards came to be and about what we are celebrating tonight.
As DuPont Fellows at the Journalism School, we've been privileged to watch and listen to excellence in the entries and in the final winning works. We've heard and talked amongst ourselves about what makes this reporting so award-winning.
Zach and I were inside the room when the jury, all veteran journalists, deliberated, debated, and picked the winners. They taught us what makes a DuPont.
It's an experience that has inspired us this year as we learn the craft and consider our own future work. Here are some past DuPont Fellows in a short video that traces the history of the awards.
I'm Daryl Lau. When I was a DuPont Fellow, I learned about how the awards came about, how they've evolved, and the standards they continue to demand today.
I'm Wayne Immel. In 1935, American industrialist, financier, and philanthropist Alfred I. DuPont died, leaving behind his devoted widow, Jessie Ball DuPont.
I'm Rebecca Lee. Jessie Ball DuPont wanted to create a tribute to her husband and his commitment to freedom of information.
I'm Patty Guerra. 8 years after Alfred's death, the first DuPont Awards ceremony went live on the air from the St. Regis Hotel in New York.
I'm Ingrid Holmquist. The first DuPont Awards were originally radio awards. Who would have imagined back then that one day we'd be able to watch the news as well as listen to it?
I'm Sana Bay. In 1950, the DuPont Awards expanded to include television. Jessie Ball DuPont herself gave the first TV award to Walter Annenberg.
I'm Katia Tubman. Since 1968, the DuPonts have been administered by Columbia Journalism School.
I'm Monica Alba. Times continue to change. Today, DuPonts are also awarded for cable, digital, and documentary.
We're about to enter the women's prison, and he's already told me that we can't interview any of the prisoners on camera.
But the rigorous standards remain the same. Journalism is first and foremost. I'm Vahini Shori. In these critical times, all of us look to DuPont winners as role models for excellence in reporting.
That includes us DuPont Fellows. I'm Dan Litke. Past fellows have taken what we've learned here with us.
At the BBC.
At NBC News.
At WBHM, NPR's member station in Birmingham, Alabama.
Dozens of former DuPont Fellows now do important work at posts around the world.
Thank you to the Jessie Ball DuPont Fund.
Thank you, Jessie Ball DuPont Fund.
Thank you, Jessie Ball DuPont Fund.
Thank you to and Zach, and for all the broadcast people, the producers here, I will just remind you to take note of just how flawlessly they delivered those lines. I tell my students, bring their resumes to these things. Now, to an innovative local investigative DuPont winner called Social Security's Secret. Using community-based reporting, 8 local TV newsrooms from Cox and the nonprofit online platform KFF Health News discovered the actual and very large number of vulnerable Americans hit with a surprising demand: repay billions of dollars in Social Security benefits, money the agency sent them and then later said they should not have received. The agency dodged questions, denied a Freedom of Information Act request, and presented misleading testimony to Congress, which they later had to retract. The team found that the Social Security Administration routinely stopped sending monthly benefits to many of the nation's poorest and most vulnerable people to recover these alleged debts, which were sometimes years or even decades old, and often caused by the agency's own mistakes. These clawbacks took an immense toll on people's lives, even forcing some into homelessness. Here is one family's story.
Okay, baby, what would you like for dinner today?
Addie has raised Justina since she was 8. She is mentally and physically disabled.
If she didn't have me, I don't know where she would be right now.
Addie is retired and gets monthly Social Security checks.
And that's basically what I live on.
Justina got disability benefits until the Social Security Administration cut her off to recoup an overpayment. And it was a big one.
When they send me a bill saying that we owe $60,000, it was like, well, I don't know how you're going to get it. I wouldn't have had $60,000 if I was still working, because that's probably what I made in a year, if not less.
When she first got the overpayment notice in 2019, Addie began trying to sort out a complicated stack of paperwork to figure out why the SSA thought it had overpaid Justina.
They first started questioning her disability and said that she was not eligible.
Justina was working at a local Goodwill store in Ohio. An SSA representative told Addie the income wouldn't affect Justina's disability payments. Her boss just needed to fill out the paperwork.
And her boss at the time told her that he had no idea how to complete it, but he did the best he could and sent it to Social Security. And that's when it all started.
Addie says the agency's forms can be maddening. This one asking to waive an overpayment is 10 pages long.
I appealed a waiver in August of 22. As of August of 23, I had heard nothing from them.
Please welcome to the stage, Jody Fleischer. So you will have more people than the Wu-Tang Clan.
The award for largest group. First, we want to say we are just incredibly honored to be included among this elite group of journalists in this room. We are especially proud to win this award with this team and for this project. Our collaboration and the model of investigative reporting we've been working to build embraces the power of local news to affect change at the national level. When we produced Social Security's Secret, we didn't just share the stories of real people in our communities impacted by the Social Security clawbacks. We featured the journalism itself, pulling back the curtain on how we reported the story and how our more than 150 local news stories prompted policy changes to improve the lives of millions of Americans. Our partnership with the incredible journalists at KFF Health News and their nonprofit model of sharing content for free with news outlets around the country was a perfect match, and it's a relationship we continue to treasure. At a time when local news and investigative teams are fighting to survive and stay relevant, I am so proud of how these reporters and photographers in 8 cities work together every day to tackle projects with national impact, build trust with our viewers, remain relevant, and we are relentless in our pursuit of journalism that really matters. Thank you.
Our next 2 DuPont winners honor reporting about the war in Gaza. The first is Kids Under Fire in Gaza, a multi-layered investigation produced by Reveal from the Center for Investigative Reporting in collaboration with Al Jazeera's Fault Lines. Its focus is the allegation that Israeli forces have engaged in the deliberate targeting of children in Gaza. The project began with Dr. Mimi Saeed, an American physician, volunteering for a month in Gaza. While there, she treated many pediatric patients with gunshot wounds, not battlefield shrapnel injuries or wounds sustained in crossfire, but she maintained direct, intentional shootings. Reporters Najib Amani and Josh Rushing followed Dr. Saeed when she returned to the U.S. and as she tried to make her case to lawmakers, policymakers, and international human rights bodies. The episode elevated the voices of medical professionals who can provide firsthand evidence about the conflict's toll. Dr. Saeed tells us about one of the children she treated.
As the girl's breathing steadies, Mimi orders a CT scan.
There was a bullet lodged in her head. And I just remember thinking immediately, like, she needs to go to surgery.
Mimi sprints upstairs to get the attention of a neurosurgeon. They rush Mira to surgery, and miraculously, she survives. It's a tiny win for Mimi, who immediately is tending to newer patients. She only gets to reflect on it much later.
This was the only child that I saw I was able to get to the CT scan that survived. A lot of them came in very similar to her presentation, but were dead already.
During this trip, Mimi says she treated at least 18 children with gunshot wounds to the head or chest. To her, these injuries seemed deliberate.
They were in children under the age of 12. That's something I saw every single day, multiple times a day, for the whole 4 weeks that I was there.
It would take an investigation to determine whether these shootings were deliberate. But to pursue one would be impossible because the Israeli Defense Forces haven't allowed independent observers to enter Gaza. After 30 days in Gaza, Mimi returns home with an immense sense of guilt. Yes, she saved some lives, but it paled in comparison to the greater need.
In Gaza, there is no end. It just keeps going. And futility is the only way to describe it, because no matter what you do, you're not changing the outcome.
Accepting the silver baton is reporter-producer Najib Amini.
I was going to start with a little public service announcement for all those that have batons. I had a colleague who was here last year and was curious, are they sturdy? And so they dropped it, and they are in fact sturdy. They do make a loud noise, but just a little public service announcement. Mr. Pelly, Ms. Martin, Ms. Cohen, thank you. And yet it moves. That's what Galileo was reported to have said about the earth. After being convicted of heresy by the Catholic Church for believing that it was not, in fact, the center of the universe. This line has been contested by historians. Did he actually say it? Was it made up? Yet it has survived because it neatly captures the truth that he was defending, and yet it moves. Dr. Mimi Saeed documented her medical missions to Gaza, going where no international journalist could. Her work joins the voices of hundreds of Palestinian journalists who have shared what life has been like since October 7th, many of whom have been targeted and killed in the pursuit of sharing that truth. Dr. Saeed tried to carry her own truth to Capitol Hill, to the UN, even to lawyers collecting testimony before the International Court of Justice. She hoped that what she witnessed a pattern of children being shot in the head. Children being shot in the head. Children like the 4-year-old Mira she helped save would come to an end. She later told us she felt like an idiot for believing those in power would listen. It feels strange to be on this stage. We're honored to be here among some of the strongest journalism of the year, work that is never easy, work that always requires a strong team. Our gratitude goes out to everyone who made this story possible, both at Reveal and Fault Lines. And thank you to the DuPont judges for this tremendous honor. And yet, it feels strange. The irony is not lost on us to receive this award here, given the unprecedented federal pressure being placed on this university's recent alumni. And yet it feels strange knowing that Israel has revoked permission for more than 36 aid organizations to enter and operate in Gaza. It feels strange given that Israeli airstrikes have killed 3 more journalists this month during a ceasefire, including one who worked for CBS News. And it feels strange given the fact that Dr. Sayed, like countless other doctors, was denied re-entry into Gaza to continue her medical mission. This profession tells us that if we shed enough light, the afflicted will one day find comfort. But today's news cycle can make us all feel like idiots for believing that. Nothing feels like it's working. The truth is, and a lot of you know this, the truth has always been under attack, and you name it. Basic economics, general public distrust, AI slop, news fatigue, and power itself, those in power itself. And the truth has always been under attack, but the truth has always needed defending, even when it's unpopular, even when it's slow, even when we may never see the results. It took more than 350 years for the Catholic Church to admit that Galileo is right. And yet it moves. Let us get back to work. Thank you.
The next silver baton recognizes an unusual lens to see the conflict in Gaza through, the lens of economics. Reporter Reem McCool and a team from Business Insider put together a series of before and after pictures, geolocated satellite imagery, and original footage to produce a short documentary that personalized the destruction of Gaza through the examples of 4 businesses. With intimate moments from inside the Strip, the team wove together desperate stories from across the devastated area into one coherent narrative of loss. The jury called it an innovative example of great reporting tied with cutting-edge technology. In this excerpt from Satellite Images Track 4 Gaza Businesses Upended by War, we'll look at what's left of one of those businesses, Gaza's first 5-star hotel.
Tourism in Gaza has also been torn apart. Before the start of this latest war, there were high hopes for the luxury hotel industry. This was Gaza's first 5-star hotel, less than 2 miles up the coast from the port. It cost $45 million to build in 2011, boasting marble floors, 5 restaurants, and swimming pools. Satellite images show it in ruins. The only visitors to the area today are people searching for food, like Muhammad Al-Halabi.
ونحن فعليا متوجهين الى منطقه الانزلاق الجويه. ممكن احنا نحصل ان شاء الله اليوم بالمساعدات الجويه.
Each parachute can carry over 1,000 pounds of aid, but that can turn deadly.
في حاليا موجود شخص انهار عليه الحزام. ايش هذا؟ ايش صاير لك يا راجل؟ وقع المعلبات عليه. يا الله، الحمد لله سلامتكم.
This is the first DuPont Award for Business Insider. Please welcome to the podium Havovi Cooper.
Thank you to the Columbia DuPont jury. I'm so honored to accept this on behalf of the team that worked on this, especially my colleague Reem McCool, who produced this video, but is not here with us tonight, so I'd like to share her words. As a Palestinian, this recognition means a great deal because it affirms something we feel strongly as journalists, that documentation is a form of accountability. It creates a record of what existed, what was lost, and what people endured. This project was possible because people in Gaza trusted us with intimate, painful moments, often in conditions that were frightening and unpredictable. They shared moments no one should have to live through, and they did it with courage and generosity. I'm proud of everyone who worked on this story, for the care we took to verify, to be precise, and to stay human. And I'm thankful to the DuPont-Columbia Awards for giving this work a second life and keeping attention where it still urgently belongs. Thank you.
NBC5 in Dallas-Fort Worth tackled a pervasive public safety crisis, the growing number of traffic-related deaths, the highest traffic death rate among America's top 10 cities. For Driven to Death, they spent 14 months mapping the location of every fatal and serious injury crash in the Dallas-Fort Worth region. This revealed a shocking pattern. Year after year, people were dying at the same locations, mainly on outdated, poorly designed roads that experts said encouraged higher speeds. Investigative reporter Scott Friedman sought out innovative solutions to the problem. As a result of his reporting, officials lowered speed limits, installed new warning signs, and unveiled plans to construct new pedestrian crossings. Since the series aired, traffic fatalities are down. Let's take a road trip with Scott Friedman to see how another city tackled the same problem.
We're on a journey to a land of safer streets, where roads are being reshaped in strange-looking ways. A city that opens your mind to the thought that maybe someday deadly car crashes could be a thing of the past. Welcome to Edmonton in Alberta, Canada. They sometimes call this Canadian province the Texas of the North. It's a region known for producing oil. They like their pickup trucks here too. And in recent years, they've driven down traffic deaths and injuries with an aggressive road safety strategy. The Dallas metro area is bigger than Edmonton, but the two cities themselves are similar size, about 1.1 to 1.3 million people. Last year, Edmonton had 14 traffic deaths. Dallas had 228. So maybe Dallas could learn from this Canadian town with crosswalks that look like something from the land of Oz.
This is very jarring to me to see this, just to be in the middle of the intersection, but this is safer?
Yes, because if you see all those vehicles, including the turning vehicle, they're stopped for you, right?
Everybody stopped.
Everybody stopped.
For us.
Right? So it's so safe for you. There is no conflict between pedestrian and vehicle.
They call this a scramble crosswalk. Pedestrians can cross diagonally because traffic lights are programmed to briefly halt cars in all directions and prohibit right-hand turns on red. This prevents cars from turning into people in crosswalks. Edmonton installs the scrambles in spots where crashes have hurt and killed pedestrians, something that has not happened at this location since the scramble arrived.
We haven't had any pedestrian-involved collisions
None.
for this location, none.
Now listen to this. Welcome to the stage for his third consecutive DuPont Award, reporter Scott Friedman.
Thank you, DuPont jurors. We have been on this stage before, but never have we received a silver baton from a distinguished alum of KXAS-TV, Scott Pelley, which makes this extra cool. So thank you for that, and thank you for all that you have done and continue to do for journalism. Thank you also to my incredible coworkers, to our bosses at NBC5 in Dallas, and to NBC Universal Local for supporting this work. We've talked about it tonight. We've heard this from others. There's so much changing in our industry right now. New platforms, new pressures from inside and out. But reporting this series really refocused us on one central thing, that amidst all of that change, one thing that hasn't changed is the power of investigative journalism to expose problems in communities, to point to potential solutions, and to begin to spark change. The problem that we tried to tackle here is a pretty overwhelming one. Texas has not seen a single day in more than 25 years without a traffic fatality. Our reporting showed how the roads themselves sometimes contribute to those tragedies. Outdated designs, missing pedestrian protections, features that can encourage higher speeds. These are places like Loop 12 in southern Dallas, where we discovered at least 100 people had died and nearly 500 were seriously injured in less than 5 years. In one area, 5 pedestrians were killed in 11 months in an area lacking traffic signals and crosswalks near bus stops and stores. Betty Sue Fleming was among those who died there. Her brother Arthur's voice and the voices of many in the community gave this project its purpose. We remember them tonight, along with all families who have experienced loss on a Texas road. We reported and decision makers acted. They fast-tracked more than $15 million in safety improvements for the loop. New stoplights, intersections are going up. The speed limit has been lowered. Police stepped up enforcement. And today, we're happy to say that Loop 12 is no longer Dallas's deadliest street. It's a small start. There's so much more to do. There are so many more roads, not only in Dallas, but across America that look like Loop 12. But at a recent community meeting, neighbors who had every reason to believe that nothing would change told us the reporting is making a difference there. And it reminded us why, as our world shifts, as our industry shifts, journalism, investigative journalism is worth fighting for, to protect that, for communities in need of a voice. And so we accept this award tonight with gratitude because it honors that purpose and it inspires us to do more. Thank you very much.
All right, hang in there. You know this is way past my bedtime, so if I can stay upright, you can stay upright. These awards, as we have all said, honor journalism that shines a light in dark places. Our next winner from NBC News certainly did that in a year-long investigation dealing the dead. This series of disturbing reports exposed how hundreds of dead bodies of people who were poor and vulnerable, many of them homeless and mentally ill, were sold for profit, often without any prior consent or their families' knowledge. Corpses and individual body parts were shipped worldwide and used for medical training and research, all occurring in the shadows part of a booming and unregulated national body trade with virtually no public scrutiny prior to NBC News' reporting. When the families learned what happened, in some instances from NBC News, they were horrified. One bioethicist told correspondent Liz Kreutz that the practice amounted to modern-day grave robbing.
NBC News reviewed thousands of pages of government records and data which reveal repeated failures to reach family members before declaring a body unclaimed. Our team has identified 12 cases in which families learned months or years later that a loved one had been provided to the medical school. 5 of those families found out what happened from NBC News, including Honey's, a year and a half after his death.
I don't believe they tried to find us. I don't believe they did. You can find people. NBC found me in a day. You can find people.
Why do you think they did it?
For money. They did it to him, a decorated military veteran. They'll do it to anybody, and that's not okay.
For 5 years, the University of North Texas Health Science Center has had agreements with Dallas and Tarrant counties to take their unclaimed bodies for free, saving them a combined $1 million a year in cremation and burial costs. It also helped the school, making it about $2.5 million a year by leasing body parts to outside groups, according to financial records.
Somebody needs to answer, or somebody's, for what they did, what they're doing.
For 10 months, our team has been seeking answers from both counties and the Health Science Center. All 3 declined our repeated requests for interviews, but in statements, the counties told us they would be reviewing their contracts. The Health Science Center at first defended its program, arguing using unclaimed bodies is critical in the training of future doctors. But just days before this story was set to air, it made a stunning reversal, telling NBC News it was suspending the program and firing the top officials who led it.
Please welcome Mike Hixenbaugh to accept this award.
I'm missing my 10-year-old's birthday tonight to be here, so on the off chance that he's up watching the DuPont Awards live stream and not playing video games, happy birthday, buddy, I love you. Great. Thank you so much to the screeners and the awards jury and to Columbia for this tremendous honor. I'd also like to thank everyone at NBC News and Telemundo who contributed to this project and everyone who supported it. There are too many colleagues who made this possible to name from this stage, but I'd like to tell you about one of them, my friend Susan Carroll. Susie is the one who conceived of this investigation, and I can tell you this was right in her wheelhouse. Throughout her career, Susie always fought to expose injustice, especially when it affected people who lacked the resources to advocate for themselves. So when Susie learned that a Texas medical school may have been cutting up and leasing out the body parts of unclaimed dead people, most of them poor, marginalized, vulnerable, we were off to the races, collecting records, building spreadsheets, making phone calls, knocking on doors. But then, tragically, 5 months into this reporting, Susie died. At age 46, leaving behind 2 sons and a hole in our newsroom that can never truly be filled. I'll be honest, after she passed, it was hard to keep going on this. The project itself, the reporting memos and databases we'd built together became daily reminders that she was gone. Finally, my colleagues Julie Shapiro and John Shupe and I had to ask ourselves, what would Susie have wanted? And we, of course, knew the answer immediately. She would want us to finish the job. An extraordinary team stepped forward to see her vision through, including Liz Kreutz, Michelle Melnick, Alexa Keys, Mary Goody, Ana Hilmaro Vilches, Tyler Kincaid, and many others. I'm proud to call all of you colleagues. And as usual, it turned out Susie was onto a good one. As a result of this reporting, the medical school shut down its program of studying and leasing out unclaimed bodies, and dozens of people learned the truth of what happened to their missing and estranged loved ones, bringing closure to many grieving families. Journalists, we've been hearing it repeatedly tonight, we get a lot of criticism these days. And I know we're not perfect, but whenever I hear reporters broadly attacked as enemies, I think of Susie. She was not out to hurt anyone. Her goal was to use public records, government databases, and her beautiful writing to make the world a better place. That is her legacy, and thank you for honoring it with this prize.
We all know this. Some dates seared in your consciousness, your memory. It almost gets down to the cellular level. You hear that date, you know what it means. Documenting these events, well, let me start over. We Will Dance Again from Paramount Plus tells the story of the International Nova Music Festival on October 7th of 2023. It was supposed to be a celebration of music for thousands of young people from all over the world. Instead, it was one of the first targets when Hamas launched a coordinated series of terrorist attacks on Israel. Director Yariv Moser focused on gripping interviews from young survivors, adding voice messages, surveillance camera video, and eyewitness accounts from cell phones. All of this was skillfully intercut with chilling footage from the Hamas fighters, their GoPro cameras, body cams, and dash cams. The DuPont jury called it a uniquely valuable contribution to the journalism surrounding the October 7th attack. This extraordinary moment from the film takes us both inside and outside of a migonit. That's a small roadside bomb shelter where several young Israelis had taken refuge.
Anil tried to calm everyone down as much as possible, and then they started firing at the entrance of the migunit. The Bedouin, he went outside and he tried to talk to them in Arabic. They did horrible things to him and murdered him in the end. Everyone in the migunit was trying to call some authority, Mada or the cops or the army or someone. No one was really answering.
אני חושבת שעברו 30 שניות עד ששמענו את הפלק הראשון של הרימון בתוך המיגונית.
And then I see Anil just pick them up and toss them out. And he does that once, and then they throw another one in. And every time they threw in a grenade, he just grabbed it, tossed it out. He acted like a commander. He took all the responsibility on himself. He was focused. He understood that he had a mission. All he was looking for was to fight, to stay alive. Thinking to myself, oh my God, this kid is throwing live grenades. I don't think that I've ever heard of anyone ever doing that. I know how dangerous this is. I think there's a chance that he's not the only one that's gonna have to do this. And I kind of get myself ready for the point where if something happens to him, that I'm gonna have to pick up what he left.
8 פעמים בעצם הרימון מתגלגל לתוך המיגונית, הנר תופס את הרימון וזורק אותו חזרה החוצה, וברימון התשיעי הרימון התפוצץ בתוך המיגונית.
There was a really big explosion, and I flew back. Someone flew on me. And when I finally got up, I remember Anil wasn't standing anymore. He wasn't with us.
Please welcome Director Yariv Moser, and please note, we also have 2 survivors from the film here with us tonight.
Thank you very much. We live in an era where freedom of expression and the arts are often compromised in favor of shaping narratives and engineering public perception. The mission of documentary filmmaking becomes vital to anchor our reality in facts and unwavering truth. This was our guiding principle. Even when faced with significant challenges and a lack of transparency from official institutions in Israel while documenting the events of October 7. From this stage, we call for a commitment to uncovering the full truth of that day and the war that followed. We believe that only through such transparency can any nation undergo the necessary process of healing and self-improvement. This is the duty we owe, above all, to the survivors. 2 of them, Yuval and Eitan, are here with us tonight, and they shared their stories in the film. You saw Eitan in the clip. We thank them for their strength and courage. On behalf of my colleagues, I want to thank the DuPont-Columbia Awards for this honor. I share this stage with Rinat Klein, whose journalist vision as a producer is at the heart of this work. My gratitude goes to my dear friend, producer Emilio Shenkar, a visionary entrepreneur. For all of us, it has been a privilege to collaborate with the team of Paramount Plus, MGM Studios, Fulwell, Bitachon 365. In See It Now Studios, it was the leadership of Terry Wrong, Aisu Saliba, and of course, the woman who inspired us with her dedication to the highest standards of journalism, Susan Zirinsky. Susan, your work and your spirit serve as a profound inspiration to all of us. Thank you very much to all of you. Thank you.
Our final DuPont Award tonight goes to 60 Minutes for the Prisoners, which the DuPont jury called 60 Minutes at its best. For context, the story aired last April at a time when CBS was being sued for $20 billion, with a B, by the President of the United States over a 60 Minutes piece. The show's immigration team was already working on a story about the many migrants with no criminal record who were being detained, despite the Trump administration's claim they were only going after the worst of the worst. When the first plane loads of Venezuelans were flown to Seacoat, a notoriously brutal prison in El Salvador, the team dug into who these men were. Within days, they obtained an internal government document with their 238 names. They made the list public ahead of airing their story, effectively scooping themselves to inform the prisoners' relatives and their lawyers, and to allow other journalists to add to the reporting. Instead of being terrorists and gang members, 60 Minutes correspondent Cecilia Vega and her team found that 75% of the prisoners had no criminal records, and most of the others were charged with non-violent offenses like theft, shoplifting, and trespassing. Here is one prisoner's story.
Our client, who was in the middle of seeking asylum, just disappeared. One day he was there, and the next day we're supposed to have court, and he wasn't brought to court.
You used the word disappeared.
Yeah, I use that word because that's what happened.
But Andrei did appear in photos taken by Time magazine photographer Philip Holsinger, who was there when the Venezuelans arrived at Sukot. Holsinger told us he heard a young man say, "I'm not a gang member, I'm gay, I'm a stylist." And then he cried for his mother as he was slapped and had his head shaved. By comparing Holsinger's photographs to photos of Andrei's tattoos taken by the government, we were able to confirm that this is Andrei. His lawyer, who was representing him pro bono, had never seen these photos before.
It's horrifying to see someone who we've met and know as a sweet, funny artist in the most horrible conditions I could imagine.
You fear for Andrei's safety in there.
Absolutely. We have grave concerns about whether he can survive.
In October, Tom Homan, who is now the White House border czar, told 60 Minutes the Trump administration's mass deportation plan would start by removing the worst of the worst.
We're going to prioritize those with convictions. We're going to prioritize national security threats. We have to do that. You got to get the worst first.
Please welcome Cecilia Vega.
Just told Michelle I really hope she's not working in the morning. So, 60 Minutes. Hi, Scott. You know, I wouldn't be telling you the truth if I stood up here and said that everything is great right now. I don't have to tell the people in this room how challenging it is to do our jobs in the face of so much noise. And a lot of noise. $20 billion worth. Sometimes there has been Annabelle and Andy with Camilo on the sidelines. We were all just in Minneapolis, and hell, we heard it to our face with tear gas in the air, when multiple people said to us, "Why should I watch 60 Minutes right now? Why should I watch CBS News?" If there wasn't so much tear gas, I probably would have said, because of these people, and the people all sitting right there in the fourth row, Deb and Claudia, Will, Dragan, Bill Owens, Tanya, we will not back down from the stories that matter, these stories, the Sukot stories. Even in a time when we are being told that what we see is not what we see, that the facts that we have learned in our reporting are not actually facts, to not trust our own eyes, I promise you, we will not fall for that. We cannot fall for that. I may be the newest member of this team, our little roving tiny band of immigration coverage, but this much I know, At 60 Minutes, integrity is our currency. That's a quote from my friend Sharon Alfonsi. We have nothing without it. And no amount of noise is going to stop us from doing the reporting that is expected of 60 Minutes. Thank you.
Celia, so proud of you, and so well said. We have one final clip to share tonight with special moments of joy that can be brought only by those magic words. You've won a DuPont.
I have a different reason for getting you on camera today, and that is that Kids Under Fire in Gaza, 2,000 meters to Andrivka, Help That Harms has won a DuPont award. You've won.
What? Really?
We won? No!
Oh my God, you're gonna make me cry now.
Wow.
Oh, that just means so much because we put so much work into it.
Every reporter across the country who worked on this, they were so committed to this effort.
I think for the DuPont to pluck it out and say, no, this story matters. And you need to look at it. It highlights it on kind of the highest level.
Awards is not why we do this work, but when they happen, there are a real sense of acknowledgement and respect that keeps us going.
To want to go out there tomorrow and start reporting another story just like this one.
Oh my gosh, that is so exciting. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Made my day.
This is great. Definitely convinces my parents that I'm doing something real.
We made it. On behalf of Scott and myself, Lisa, Jelani, the entire team, congratulations to the winners, to the honorees, to the hundreds of audio and video journalists who entered, to every journalist everywhere for the work which seeks and speaks the truth. Keep going. Good night.